Prabhupada picture.
Okay.
Well, we can see both Vishnu Gada Prabhu as a smaller picture, and then we can see his share screen. But I think Maheshmani Prabhu, what you're saying is we want to see the full screen Vishnu Gada Prabhu.
No,
Right,
that's not good. It's better to see this picture. You know that picture was taken, Mahesh Pandit,
No, I don't know.
Madan Gopal.
That's New York City, right? That's Radha Govinda.
Yeah. That's 55th Street.
Oh,
Right.
50.
This was
New York City.
1976. See, the Singhasan there was carved marble, and nicely
Yes.
done. Nicely done with those big doors.
Oh yeah, very nice.
Tosan Krishna Prabhu had arranged for those doors. So this is Srila Prabhupada's first darshan coming there. I have a slideshow of Srila Prabhupada in touring 55th Street Temple.
Oh, really? Nice. That'd be
Yeah.
nice to share. Nice to share sometime.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's a,
you can Prabhupada Leela sometime, some of your memories, and maybe the slideshow and things like that'll be awesome. Yeah.
well, Srila Prabhupada came probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times to Henry Street, but only 1 time to 55th Street. But it was, the 55th Street time he came, it was the first big Rath Yatra in New York, down 5th Avenue,
All right.
1976.
76. Yeah. The July 76, right?
Yeah, July 19th, I think it was. And
I was born in July 76 myself. So born in that
there you go.
same month.
That's right. So this was quite a event.
Beautiful.
And Srila Prabhupada used to have darshan on the roof of the temple. Sometimes on the roof, sometimes there was a 3rd floor balcony also, but mostly on the roof. He liked it up.
He really liked that building. He was very happy about the fact that we had a skyscraper in New York. All right, I think it's time.
Okay.
Okay, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much for joining this evening. We have tonight His Grace Vishnu Gada Prabhu. It's our great pleasure to welcome him, and it's a distinct honor to have him on our channel. Vishnu Gada Prabhu is one of the original leaders of our community, our New Jersey congregation, ISKCON of Towaco, New Jersey, one of the founding leaders, and he's inspired many of our congregation members who are still congregation devotees and have moved very far ahead in their own spiritual lives, and their children have become devotees, and now they're having grandchildren who become devotees. So Vishnu Gada Prabhu is directly responsible for the spiritual growth of many souls in our community. And so thank you, Vishnu Gada Prabhu, for giving us your special time. And tonight we have a special topic, the discussion of favorable Vaishnava behavior in the temple etiquette. Hare Krishna. Welcome.
Thank you, Madan Gopal Prabhu. And nice to see all of you devotees from New Jersey. If I could offer my obeisances. Pancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. It's so nice to be here with you, even though it's virtually. And Jiva Goswami says there's all different kinds of devotional service. How many kinds of devotional service are there? I mean, different. Shravanam, Kirtanam, all the 9 kinds, right? But to be all the other kinds of devotional service to be effective have to be preceded and followed by kirtan. Did you know that? You knew that, yeah. Jiva Goswami says that. So we'll do a little kirtan. I saw in the background they're chanting, so we'll chant the same prayer they're chanting in the background there. Can we chant it back and forth, or no? It's not going to work.
That won't work with our setup. Yeah.
Okay, so you chant along with me then. Chant along with me.
We'll chant along, but we'll keep ourselves muted. We'll hear you.
Okay, that's good. Okay. Bhaja Hore Mana Sri Dandanandana Abhay Charanara Vindare Bhaja Hore Mana Sri Nandanandana Abhay Charanara Vindare Dulabha Manava Janama Satsange Bolo Dulabha manava janama sat sange tarahe bhava sindhure tarahe bhava sindhure Shita atapa bhakta bharishana edin jamini jagire Shitayatapa bhakta bharishana edin jamini jagire Vipale seveno kripana durjana Vifale seveno kripana durjana chapala shukalava lagire chapala shukalava lagire edhan jovana putra parijana etiquette parati tire Edhan jovana putra parijana itiquette parati tire Kamala dala jala jivana thalamala Kamala dala jala jivana thalamala Bhajahun haripada nitire Bhajahun haripada nitire Sravanam kirtana smarana bandana Pada sevanam dasyare Shravanam kirtanam smarana bandhanam Pada sevanam dasyare Pujana sakijan atmani vedana Pujana sakijan atmani vedana Govinda Das Abhilasare Govinda Das Abhilasare Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Paribrajak Acharya Ashtota Sadashi Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai Prem se kaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaur Bhakta ki jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shyam Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki jai Vrindavan Dham ki jai Navadvip Mayapur Dham ki jai Ganga Mai ki jai Jamuna Mai ki jai Tulsi Devi ki jai Bhakti Devi ki jai Shamavita Bhakta ki jai Gaur Premanande All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glory to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga Hari Hari Bol. Nama Om Vishnu Pada Krishna Prishtaya Bhutare Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Shami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Hare Krishna. So we have this presentation today, discussion of favorable Vaishnava behavior in the temple. So Mahesh Pandit Prabhu, can you unmute yourself at your discretion?
Yes.
Okay. So some I'm going to ask sometimes for you if you could read also, but you'll have to read loudly and accurately. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So. There's different kinds of devotional service, like we were saying, Shravanam Kirtanam. This is Archanam, and we'll talk a little bit about why this is important. So there's, one time Srila Prabhupada was asked about the different rules and regulations of deity worship, and he said, well, if I told you all, you would faint. Did you ever hear that before? Yeah. Anyway, the purpose of this presentation is not to make you faint, but it's we'll go into the purpose as we go on. So there's lots of rules and regulations in deity worship, but the prime rule and regulation for all devotional service is this: always remember Lord Krishna and never forget him. So all other rules and regulations are servants of this one. Maybe you know the Sanskrit: Smartavya satatam Vishnu, Vishmatavyo na jatuchit. Sarva vidhi nishedha sur etayor ivakang kinkara. Kinkara means a servant of all those. So this is Srila Prabhupada in Henry Street, New York in 1973 or so. Vrindavan Chandra might have been there, I don't know. So who is this presentation for? For devotees who are already attending the temple and are hoping to make further progress to go back home, back to Godhead. For guests and devotees that attend the temple who want to experience an atmosphere conducive to more fully remembering and concentrating on Lord Krishna. So the idea is the temple environment should be conducive to facilitate what we just talked about, always remembering Krishna. Through Krishna Darshan, Krishna Kirtan, Krishna Katha, Prasadam, Krishna Bhakti, and Seva, and also Krishna Devotee Association. Most of this presentation is from Nectar Devotion, Chapter 8, Offenses to be Avoided. And who are these offenses to? If we commit offense in Chapter 8, the offenses in deity worship, who are we offending?
Krishna.
That's right. He's personally present in his deity form, and he can be offended by our careless dealings. So it's really important to remember who it is we might offend and understand the seriousness of the situation. I don't know if in your temple in Philadelphia they have a sign. There's a shoe rack, and there's a sign that says, "Please put your shoes on the rack." Do you have one of those in Towaco? Something similar. There's a shoe rack. So anyway, of course, nobody puts their shoes on the rack just by looking at the sign. That's called theoretical knowledge and realized knowledge. Gyan and Vigyan. So because putting your shoes on the rack, you understand. Yeah. So this is so the idea of this is not only the theoretical knowledge, but it's an opportunity to practice. Because of the offenses we have to avoid, practice makes perfect. Theoretical knowledge becomes realized knowledge when it is applied. Our progress is checked by different weeds. Don't forget the 21. I just needed a picture of weeds. So offenses might be committed to the holy name, to devotees, and to Lord Krishna in his deity form. These offenses are usually tied to some kind of material desire and are like weeds that can choke the bhakti creeper. So if we want to make progress in spiritual life, we have to be able to identify those weeds and remove or avoid them. That's the point. So first we have to be aware of them, and then we can avoid and remove them. So none of us are at the perfectional stage. So that means there's something we're not doing, we're doing something wrong. We have some bad habit, and we have to change that if we want to make progress. So that's called humility. Humility means that we're not very, very far advanced, and we have to change. And it might be helpful to remember how Lord Chaitanya accepted instructions from his spiritual master. Do you know how he did that? He went to see his spiritual master. Where was that? Come on. Does nobody know? Sure, you know. In Gaya. He went to see.
Gaya, right?
Yeah, Gaya. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is known as Nimai Pandit. Pandit means a very learned person. And his spiritual master said, "You're a fool." And you know what Lord Chaitanya said in response? No, wait a minute. I'm a Pandit. No, he didn't say that. He didn't say that. He accepted that because he was hearing from he was interested in, he was showing the perfect example of the disciple, how to hear from the spiritual master. Okay, so Who is this presentation for? In the early days of ISKCON, most devotees lived in temples and were exposed to, were taught, and practiced most of these items every single day. However, devotees who live at home may not have had the opportunity to often consider or regularly practice these items. And it's also for parents who might like to help their children avoid offenses like that, right? I mean, you could do that at home, but hopefully not in front of the deities, right? Okay. So please, Mahesh, read this one if you could.
Where are these guidelines coming from? Remember, these offenses haven't been manufactured by me or created by the local administration. They are coming from the Vaishnava scriptures compiled by Rupa Goswami in Nectar of Devotion, as transmitted to us by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON.
Very well read. Thank you. Says Lord Chaitanya, you know who this is? That's Rupa. This is Lord Chaitanya, Rupa Goswami in Prayag. Yeah. And then there's Rupa Goswami and Srila Prabhupada. Of course, there was Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, etc. In between, but there's a Srila Prabhupada in his at Radha Damodar temple.
Yeah.
Srila Prabhupada received the same instructions that Rupa Goswami received from Lord Chaitanya through the Parampara, and is transmitting them to us through the Nectar Devotion and by his personal example. Here's some other sources that I got. I think your very own Jayadvaita Maharaj. So I consulted with him on some ideas. Jayananda Prabhu. Do you know Jayananda Prabhu?
Yes, he started the Rath Yatra.
This is a different Jayananda Prabhu. He's the ISKCON North America Deity Minister. Yeah. Mother Sangeeta, she's a senior. I had to have a woman's perspective too. And there's a book called the Pancharatra Pradeep. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's a deity worship manual that was produced by the ISKCON GBC. These are sources that I consulted for elaboration and clarification. And some of these individuals also gave additional suggestions in areas not covered in the Nectar Devotion, but they're meant to serve the same goal of improved remembrance. Where do these recommendations apply? Well, look, this is Srila Prabhupada touring the kitchen in 55th Street, and this is a devotee named Mahadev. He's spooning ghee out of this pot into here through the sev, and Srila Prabhupada says, "What is that, Srila Prabhupada? What is that?" And Mahadev said, "It's ghee, Srila Prabhupada." So where do these? Some of you read this. You read this. Mahesh
Location. Some of the offenses have to do specifically with pujaris and cooks engaged in deity worship, whereas others are interpreted as applying to everyone who enters the temple room and do not just devotees on the altar or kitchen. Srila Prabhupada designated the kitchen as being an extension of the altar. Thus, the standard and behavior in the kitchen are higher than those in the temple room.
You got this. So some of you are familiar with, you're probably familiar with reading this 8th chapter of Nectar Devotion. Some of them are really directed towards anybody entering the temple room. Some of them are for pujaris and cooks. And there's also a little bit of a distinction between when the doors or the curtains of the deity's curtains are closed or open. So that should be kept in mind. So the idea is to create a sanctified atmosphere in the temple, so to facilitate remembrance of Krishna. So that's called a sacred space or sacred place. Lord Krishna has done his part, so the rest is up to us. So our job is to work together to promote the preservation of the temple as a sacred space. Please.
Are all offenses created equal? While some of the offenses pertain to devotees' overall behavior, some offenses are particularly relevant in the temple room, pujari room, or kitchen. There, an effort is being made to maintain a sanctified atmosphere, to facilitate the worship and remembrance of the Supreme Lord, so it is a natural and easy as possible without distraction. While all offenses have ripple effect, some affect primarily the individual's relationship with Lord Krishna. However, many of the offenses, when done by one individual, tend to distract others from their focus on Lord Krishna. One may not be so concerned with his own offensive behavior, yet one should be aware of the collateral damage the offenses can make to the sanctified setting in the temple room, which affects others.
Is this clear? Is this do you understand that? Do you understand what that was?
Yes.
Yeah. So some of the offenses, it's just between you and Krishna, and no, it's not going to. But some of them are particularly problematic because when that offense is done, it messes up the atmosphere in the temple. And you can think about when Lord Chaitanya was having his nocturnal kirtans when he returned from Gaya, he began the Sankirtan movement. He had every night for a year, he had Harinam Sankirtan in Srivasanga, and he kept all the offenders out. He didn't want to keep them because, well, he kept them out. Something like, often people with bad body odor don't notice it themselves, although it is bothersome to others. Similarly, some offenses cause a disturbance to the sacred remembering environment and to others, even if you may not notice them. We'll try to highlight some of those kinds of offenses. And this is number 3. While the standards we're talking about do not change for newcomers, the way the standards may be enforced for them should be sensitive to their newcomer status and not overly rigid or punitive. So sometimes, a new couple comes in and, the men and women are different sizes and we can enforce it immediately. Well, you may not always need to do that. It might not always be ideal. So sensitivity. Okay. So here's an introductory word of encouragement from Srila Prabhupada. Mahesh. This is part of Srimad Bhagavatam, yeah.
The Bhakti Yoga process must be carried out by avoiding the 10 offenses one can commit while chanting the Mahamantra, and the 64 offenses one can commit while worshipping the deity. When a devotee strictly follows the rules and regulations, Bhakti Devi becomes very much satisfied with him, and at that time, he is never disturbed by anything external.
Continue.
When one's heart is purified by the association of devotee and by the avoidance of the offenses committed, when chanting and worshipping the Lord, the transcendental name, form, and activities of the Lord are revealed by the Lord.
So this is what we hope to achieve by following the guidelines to become genuinely Krishna conscious. Oh, okay. So what we're going to do, there's some categories. There's categories of offenses, which I don't know if you knew this, but this isn't there in the Nectar devotion, but it's there in the Pancharatra Pradeep, and it's mentioned in the Padma Purana. And we're going to go through each of these categories if we have time. And at the end of the category, then we'll field questions and comments, if you don't mind. Okay? So, Mahesh.
Yes, sir.
You want to
64 offenses to avoid. Number 1, offenses due to lack of purity of body and mind. Number 2, offenses due to lack of respect. Number 3, offenses due to lack of endeavor, and offenses due to lack of faith.
See, 4 categories. So, it's a good idea to keep in mind these categories. They're okay. First category.
Offense due to the lack of purity of the body.
Body and?
Mind.
Yeah, this is a picture of a polluted mind. Okay. So this is, we're starting. Okay.
Impurity of body and mind. One should not enter the temple without washing one's hand and feet.
Okay, stop. Okay. So bathing just before coming to the temple will include washing your feet. And sometimes Srila Prabhupada was observed when he, after taking prasadam, if he was going back to the temple, he would wash his feet. Do you realize? Take his socks off, and sometimes he would take water and splash it on his feet, or even if there were socks on. Okay.
Number 2, one should not fail to wash his teeth very carefully every day. One should not enter the deity room or touch the body of the deity after having smeared oil over his body for pujari in the kitchen. One should not touch the deity before one has completed taking a bath.
So these last 2, 3, and 4 are, like I said before, they're specifically for pujaris or cooks. You can go in the temple room without taking a full bath. Of course, full bath is preferable. When I went to Vrindavan in 1978, I stayed with the Gurukul kids there for a while. So they were telling me that when Srila Prabhupada was there in the Vrindavan, he had them get up at 4 o'clock, just wash their hands, feet, and mouth, and go for Mangalarti and take a bath later. So, but to be on the pujari or the kitchen, of course, full bath is preferable, but it's not absolutely required. But in the kitchen or in the deity room, it is required. You follow? That's what we were talking about before, location.
Oh, okay. Impurity of body and mind. One should not touch a woman during her menstrual period. Question.
This was my question. So I asked Jayananda Prabhu, are there references from Srila Prabhupada about devotee women not entering the temple during their menstrual period? This is a big deal. Jayananda's response, Prabhupada wasn't so strict on this. Here are all the written accounts on this that we believe are available. Okay, I'll read. The principle is that everyone who's properly initiated and following the rules and regulations can worship. The activity cannot be on the material platform. According to Smarta Vidhi, women cannot touch the deity during menstrual period. You know Smarta Vidhi? We don't follow Smarta Vidhi. That's the Smarta, yeah. But the Goswami Vidhi or Pancharatriki Vidhi allows. But it is better not to do it. One thing is that seva can never be stopped for any reason. This is also for cooking. This is a letter from Srila Prabhupada to Amshud in 13th August 1974. Here's another letter to Purushottam. Mahesh.
Regarding a woman with a period, as much as possible, she may avoid direct deity worship and cooking. But if there is no alternative, it is all right. But she must be always very clean.
So then there was this controversy in Mayapur that was discussed that Jayananda he alerted me to when some ladies, lady devotees wanted to attend Prabhupada's classes in the temple there. There you go, Mahesh.
The Matajis of Mayapur, Swati and Kamaduka Prabhu, were following the Indian standard of not going into the temple on the day they were off the altar. Devotee terminology for menstruation. It affected me when these ladies started insisting that we all follow their example. That sparked a debate among the ladies on this topic. I decided to ask Srila Prabhupada to settle the issue. On behalf of the ladies, I wrote a brief, polite letter, signed the Matajis of Mayapur, and gave it to Harishwari Prabhu.
Any idea why she gave it to Harisari?
He was his secretary?
Yeah, he was the secretary. So later, that's Harisari, told me Srila Prabhupada's solution. We could come to the temple in silk saris when we're off the altar, but we shouldn't perform deity worship. The ladies got to hear Srila Prabhupada's daily lectures and do little drops of personal service for him, which satisfied us. We didn't feel Srila Prabhupada gave us less mercy because we were women. In fact, Srila Prabhupada was the only person who truly saw us as spirit souls and aspiring servants of Krishna. Thus, he encouraged us equally to perfect our human lives and go back to Godhead. Srila Prabhupada is coming Mahamaya Digadasi. So here's the summary. Those women should be women, regularly practicing devotional service, may choose to enter the temple during their menstrual cycle wearing silk, but are recommended to not go on the temple altar or cook for the deities unless the worship would otherwise be stopped. Okay, Mahesh.
Impurities of body and mind. Continue. One should not enter the temple directly after sexual intercourse. One should not enter the temple after touching the dead body. One should not enter the temple after seeing a dead body. One should not enter the temple after visiting a crematorium.
These are pretty much self-explanatory.
Yes.
What about you're driving on your way to the temple and you see a dead raccoon on the street?
That's all right, I guess.
Is it? Why? Why is it okay?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, we'll come back to that anyway. Okay, one should not, here, this is another big one. One should not enter the temple in a contaminated state. That means during an Ashocha period after the death of a relative. You know, in the Nectar devotion, it talks about how, according to somebody's caste, there would be periods mentioned like 12 days, 15 days, or 30 days. So here's what Jayananda Prabhu said. I'm not aware of any, I asked him more about this. I'm not aware of any additional written references by Prabhupada. This question comes up routinely when families of pujaris die. Some of my counterparts in South India did research, and this is what they found. So one thing is that devotees that were present while Srila Prabhupada was on the planet often say he didn't encourage devotees to follow this Ashocha period mentioned in the Nectar devotion. So, a very ancient Tamil translation of the Parashara Sutras was found during the course of the research. This states what Srila Prabhupada practiced. An ashram vasi, means a resident of the ashram, does not have to follow this mitra Ashocha provided he has maintained all the vows of his ashram. If he happens to visit his parental home, he becomes contaminated, and when he returns to his ashram after a thorough bath, there is no contamination, and he can carry out his spiritual duties and responsibilities in the ashram. Jayananda, this was what Prabhupada followed under the assumption that his temple residents have faithfully followed the vows accepted by them. So, yeah. Conclusion. Those fully engaged in devotional service, chanting 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra daily, following the 4 regulative principles, and engaging in devotional service to Lord Krishna, need not follow the Ashocha period. Others should do so. Mahesh.
When a devotee is perspiring, he should not engage himself in worshipping the deity. This refers to pujari. If in the hot weather perspiration is unavoidable, continue the worship.
See, the PP is a reference to the Prancharatra Pidip. It's not just me making it up.
Oh, okay. One should not pass urine or evacuate while engaging worshipping the deity. Regulation helps avoid interruptions. If there are interruptions in the deity worship, beg permission before, the forgiveness after. And forgiveness.
Yeah, forgiveness. One should, if you're going to have to pass urine or evacuate, then one should remove clothes and bathe before recommencing and then put on the clothes again. This also applies to service in the kitchen.
The deity should not be bathed in water that has been touched by the nails or fingers. One should not be angry within the temple.
Yeah, unless deities or devotees are attacked. Otherwise, quarrels and fights should be taken outside. Okay, that's the first category. Are you still with me?
Yes, sir.
You're still, at least you are, Mahesh, because you're reading, right? So, questions, comments on this first section. This is the longest one.
So this is Madan Gopal.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So I guess my question, or I guess a comment is on a question, that we see there's the impurities, and it seems that there's 2 categories of impurities. Right? There's the hygiene or the physical, sanitary impurities that we got to watch out for, and then there is the aspect of subtle or ritual purity. Perhaps you want to comment on that. And there seem to be 2 distinct categories of purity, and it seems that both are required to engage in the worship of the Lord.
Yes, very good point. Very good, very astute. So when we were, I asked Jayananda Prabhu what he thought about the question about seeing a dead raccoon on the way to the temple, because it says no dead body. It doesn't say no dead human body. So his comment was, as following you, that if a person actually has been affected by that, seeing the dead body, then yeah, they got to take bath, because it's the the subtle consciousness is also a really important part of the cleanliness when you're attempting to worship the Lord. So I mean, it's most of these are pretty straightforward. And we'll say at the end, I mean, where the catch at the end is the best way to remain clean outside and inside, as you know, Om Apavitra Pavitrava Sarvavasangatopīva Yasmaret Pundarīksha. Chant the holy names of Krishna. Yeah. So that can be done anytime, anywhere, any place, especially with concentration. Good point. Thank you. Okay. So we're going on. I like this picture. You know what this is? You know, this. What's
they're
that?
intentionally turning their back. They're intentionally turning their back.
Yeah. Bill de Blasio, the mayor of New York City, has a biracial son, and he made some comment that he didn't want his son to be profiled by the police. So the policeman didn't like that. The next time he got up to speak to them, you know, there's hundreds of them, they all at once turned their back to him because as a sign of disrespect. So these are like the de Blasio rules. I remember when I was a kid, sometimes you'd see pictures of or movies of people in leaving a throne room, and they would leave walking backwards. So they would turn their back to the. Did you ever see those things? Yeah. Okay.
Lack
This
of
is for you. Go ahead.
one should not belch before the deity.
You know what belch means? Burp.
Burping.
Yeah, no burping.
So until one has fully digested his food, he should not enter the temple. One should not enter the temple in a car or palanquin or with shoes on the feet.
Yeah. So first one is the burping. What is fully digested mean? I mean, if you're going to tell it fully digested, you go all the way through the digestive tract. No, just there's a certain period when you're naturally going to burp more, which is usually the first, 30, 20 minutes or so. Be careful about that. And so usually you don't go in a palanquin, but you might make exceptions for wheelchairs depending on circumstances. If someone's disabled, and the comment in the Pancharatra Pradeep was that also they don't recommend someone having a kid on their back because it's like a palanquin or like a car. That's what they said. It's just kind of sometimes dads put their kids on their back and like this. One should not avoid bowing down before the deity. Did you know this? You might know this, that when Srila Prabhupada was present, we always bowed with our right side to him. And when he departed, we bowed with our left side. He became a deity. So always bow the left side to the deities and departed spiritual master, and right side to or straight with the present spiritual master. The definition of obeisance, a movement of the body expressing deep respect or deferential courtesy as before a superior. When Srila Prabhupada was in Moscow, he was surprised to see a long line in the morning, 6 o'clock in Red Square. You know what it was to?
For the bread?
Lenin's tomb. Lenin's tomb.
That's tomb.
So everybody had to go in. They had to be very quiet. They couldn't take pictures. They had to keep their hands in their pockets, no talking. They had to offer obeisances to the dead body. And dandavats, we say, dandavats, yeah. Falling flat on the ground like a stick to offer obeisances to the spiritual master, Krishna, or a respectable person. What prayers what prayers are you supposed to recite when you pay obeisances to? This is a question for you.
We offer prayers to the spiritual master when we're offering obeisances to the deity.
Okay, well. Regarding what prayers to chant before Srila Prabhupada and these, I'm not aware of any particular instruction from Srila Prabhupada or other acharyas, nor would I be inclined for the ministry to offer some specific rule. Because what would it be based on? That being said, with what little common sense I have, I personally offer my pranams to the personality that I'm approaching in ascending order. Pranams to my Diksha Guru, Srila Prabhupada, at his Vyasa-san in the temple room, Lord Chaitanya, then to Krishna, etc. I'm aware that it's common for devotees to chant Guru pranams as well in front of the deities, though. Not sure how it came to be a common practice. There's no harm. But if I were ever told this should be the way it's done, I'd ask what the evidence is for that instruction. Anyway, that's what he says.
May I offer a comment on this?
Yes, certainly.
Ravindra Sarup Prabhu gave a philosophical explanation for this. And he says basically when we offer our obeisance to the deities, we're telling the deity that I'm associated with Prabhupada or with this spiritual master. Therefore, please accept me, not on my own terms or on my own merit. I'm with him. Therefore, accept me. So it's kind of like
I hear, but then one could also say that we did offer our respect for obeisances to the spiritual master also. And you know, there's 3 altars, the Gauranatai altar usually, or depending on your temple.
Right.
But you can offer them first, like when I do it, I usually offer obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, then on the Guru Garanga altar, and I offer my respects to Srila Prabhupada there, along with Namo Mahabharata Nyaya, but I don't necessarily do it all 3 across. Anyway, this is what Jayananda said. You could also ask Jayadvaita Swami. I didn't ask him, but this is what he said. A lot. So obeisances, you ever see people offer obeisances and they kind of put their hand out like this before, so you don't have to touch your head to the ground? Yeah, this is Srila Prabhupada. You notice that's,
yeah, I've seen that. I don't know what the deal is with that. Yeah.
You don't want to go all the way down. All the way down. It's hard to go all the way down.
Mhm.
Oh, so a question was raised about women paying dandavats. Neither Jayadvaita Swami nor Jayananda Prabhu were aware of any instructions prohibiting women from offering dandavats. Although according to some etiquette manuals, it's not allowed. Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhyakanda chapter 3 summary, this was when Lord Chaitanya is on his way to the Chandkazi's house doing kirtan. Wherever the Lord went in the course of the procession, everyone, including women, children, and elders, left their household duties and fell flat at the lotus feet of the Lord. Mother Malati indicated it was done in the early days of ISKCON, and it is evident in the Hare Krishna people film. They have ladies offering dandavats. That was 1973, 74. Mother Sangeeta, however, said she would not be comfortable paying dandavats. One should not bow down on one hand. Pancharatra Pradeep says, because when you're bowing down, doing obeisances, you know what those 2 hands are for? You're supposed to be touching the feet. Imagining you're touching the feet of the person you're paying obeisances to. Interesting. I didn't know that. Yeah. And so if you're carrying something, you put it down first before you offer obeisances. And then one should not circumambulate in front of Sri Krishna. The idea is not making anybody else the center of attention. So circumambulate Srimati Tulsi Devi with closed curtains. And interestingly, circle dance was said to be okay in the Pancharatra Pradeep, which I didn't think so. Because you always have to, if you're going to circle dance in the temple, then you're giving your back to the deities. And I saw when Srila Prabhupada did that, he always did a turn, and so he wouldn't keep his back to when he. But anyway, they said it was okay. According to the Pancharatra Pradeep, they said it was okay. But Jayadvaita Maharaj commented not to have boogaloo dancing. Boogaloo dancing, sometimes Srila Prabhupada stopped that and did the more gracious Swami step. One should not spread his legs before the deity. Okay. Now you.
One should not sit before the deity holding his ankles, elbow, or knees with one's hand. One should not lie down before the deity of Krishna. One should not accept prasad before the deity. One should not chew betel before the deity. One should not pass the air before the deity. One should not pass air within the temple.
Both places, yeah. So in addition to holding your ankles, elbows, and knees, not to point your feet to the deities also. And Charanamrita, or the Pancharatra Pradeep said you can take a little bit of Charanamrita or some Mahaprasad off to the side, not directly in front of the deities, and it's not offensive. Look at this. What do you notice about this picture? This is ISKCON, New York, circa 1973.
Wow.
The gap between the deity and Srila Prabhupada.
Yes, it's
Pathway.
pathway there, and all the devotees are they're sideways. Sideways means no, their backs aren't to Srila Prabhupada or to the Lord. So there, one should not sit with his back toward the deity or stand with their back towards the deities. Srila Prabhupada commented on one occasion in the Mayapur temple where the dancers were dancing with their backs to the deities, that this was a symptom of idol worship.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then one should not be charitable to beggars before the deity. Okay. Then you've got Mahesh.
Respect. One should not break the silence while worshipping. One should not talk with others before the deity. This specifically refers to unnecessary talk, prajalpa, and talk not involve the service of the deity. Srila Prabhupada whispered in front of the deity even for necessary talk. Also avoid unnecessary talk on the altar and in Lord Krishna's kitchen.
Yeah, kitchen, the spittle goes into the boga. So when I first went to India, I was wanting to see how things are done in India because I thought things would be really, really pakka, you know. So the first thing I noticed in the temple when I went to Mayapur is that everybody was talking in the temple. But in the West at that time anyway, nobody talked in the temple. It was very, very strict, you know. And this is one of those things where I gave you the example of what if what you do can influence everybody else. It messes up the atmosphere of the sacred atmosphere. So unless absolutely necessary, if you have to talk and it's not, have to talk, whisper or take it outside, whisper or take it outside, especially nobody likes to think they talk prajalpa, right? I would never talk, but if it's not necessary, take it outside most of the time. And of course, Krishna Katha, Japa, Kirtan doesn't the class doesn't break the silence. It's material sound, because this is a major disturbance to the sanctified temple atmosphere. Prabhupada would rarely speak in the kitchen and not speak strictly when spittle, he would stop from spittle going into the preparations for the Lord. Okay, let's see.
Respect. One should not eulogize or praise anyone else before the deity. One should not talk very loudly before the deity. One should not cry or howl before the deity. One should not speak very harshly or to others before the deity. One should not chastise anyone before the deity. One should not speak ill names before the deity.
So this first one, Srila Prabhupada is an exception to this, is the founder Acharya of ISKCON, but in general, not for us. Us mortal people, not a good idea. Unless the deity doors or the curtains are closed. During lectures, in number 35, not chastise anyone before the deity. That means we may speak against impersonalist or atheistic philosophy, but we're not going to. It's an offense to point out specific people and criticize them. But we can criticize a deviant philosophy in front of the deities.
Respect. One should not take a vow in the name of God. One should not quarrel or fight before the deity. One should not praise oneself before the deity.
In number 37, that specifically means a vow for material gain or material goals, or a vow that you don't intend to keep. That kind of vow is what we're referring to. And of course, people get married in front of the deities, or they take initiation before the deities. We're not talking about that kind of vow.
One should not wear a fur blanket before the deity. One should not enter the temple wearing garments of blue or red color or garments that are unwashed.
Jayananda, there's hearsay that Prabhupada was asked about red and blue and he didn't explain why. it's not a rule that the ministry focuses on as much as cleanliness, etc. My thoughts about wearing coats in the temple room are that it is just best to encourage the value of cleanliness with general guests and congregation. We should be more strict with our pujaris and cooks, of course, because they should know and appreciate the principles. The reason that came up was because I know when I was in a new devotee, nobody ever wore their coat in the temple room. Never, ever, ever, ever. And you know, can you guess why?
Temperature must be high.
No, it was cold like anything.
Oh, okay.
Why didn't they wear coat inside the temple room? Any guesses? Come on.
They wanted to protect themselves.
No,
Oh, okay.
It's
Nice.
not enough space in the temple room.
no.
Okay.
It's because the coat, you wear the coat all the time, and how often do you wash your coat?
Yeah, it's not clean.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
how often do you wash your coat? Maybe once a season, maybe at best, right?
That's
So
right.
the coat
Smell.
wasn't clean. It was considered unclean because you're wearing it all the time without washing it. Whereas your regular clothes, you're changing regularly. So anyway, so that came up. So I was discussing it with Jayananda. So at least he agreed. At least in the kitchen and on the altar, you're not going to wear a coat, obviously. But the kitchen, because it's like the altar, you shouldn't be wearing a coat because it's not washed regularly. And then I asked also, of course, one should not wear a fur blanket before the deity. Also, avoid wearing leather stuff in front of the deities too. That's it. It's not mentioned, but he says, Jayananda said it's probably included there. Okay.
One should not decorate one's forehead with the 3-line tilak. One should not worship the deity before the non-devotee.
You have to stop that 3-line tilak, Mahesh.
Only 2 lines, yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. And this idea of one should not worship the deity before a non-devotee, that's referring to the generally the all the worship that takes place, on the altar after the morning arti, the bathing, the dressing, all that. Certainly, guests who come to the temple can see the arti, but not the worship of the deity. The other worship of the deity is usually done behind closed doors. Here's some additional suggestions by the persons I mentioned.
Restrict cell phone use in the temple room.
Why do you think that
Encourage
might
the
be?
very-
Why do you think that might be useful?
It disturbs
They disturb
think?
the
sanctity.
Yeah, yeah,
Sacred
yeah.
place.
Talking Prajapa.
encourage.
Yes.
Yes. Encouraging the wearing of devotional cloth, especially in the kitchen and pujari room. Avoid wearing clothing with logos.
Budweiser. New Jersey Devils.
That's right. Avoid wearing shorts, baseball caps, revealing clothing. Avoid unnecessary talking or chanting japa during class or kirtan.
That goes on. See people chanting japa during the class. I mean, or kirtan. Not. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So that was the first. This first section was what? What was the first section?
Cleanliness.
Yeah. Offenses due to contaminated mind or body. Yeah. So the second set was lack of cleanliness of body and mind. The second, lack of respect. Okay. So any comments? Further comments? I don't know. It's getting late. You might be jaded by now. All this stuff, all these rules.
That's right.
Hare Krishna, can I ask, is the reason why we don't wear logos, is that because we're supposed to wear as clean as possible in front of the deities?
Actually, that was Jayadvaita Maharaj's recommendation, and his thing was because it draws attention to the person instead of to Krishna. So that was his thinking. These were suggested. I mean, they're not rules on the same level as the other guidelines in Nectar devotion, but they seem to be natural corollaries or offshoots of those. So you see somebody walking around with a Budweiser T-shirt, What do you think about? Or you see somebody walking with a, you know, what are the sports teams you follow? New York Giants, or the baseball hat, you know, that, so that it's a bit of a distraction. It can be a bit of a distraction. So that's
MAGA hat?
that.
MAGA
MAGA?
hat?
Oh yeah, but MAGA hat's okay. I'm joking. But yeah, those things, you're drawing attention away. What's the focus is supposed to be on Krishna. If you want to wear a logo, have it a Krishna logo. Lord Chaitanya logo, Srila Prabhupada logo.
Thank you. And may I ask, I apologize, I joined past the half an hour mark. So sorry. With the women paying obeisances, that was not clear to me. So women are, and I was taught that women weren't supposed to pay the full dandavats, like the full body. It was always just the half. Is that correct?
That's what you'll find in some etiquette manuals, as I mentioned. It's a little bit of a controversy. I know for sure that in the beginning of the movement, it was ladies did that, and I quoted from the Chaitanya Bhagavat, where during Lord Chaitanya's time, women were falling flat to offer obeisances, and there was, if you watch, have you ever watched the Hare Krishna People film?
Yes.
It's the first video, first film that was made. You have a lady offering obeisances, offering prasad, offering arti, offering the boga while doing dandavats in that film. So it was done quite frequently at that time. So I would say it's not wrong. Like I said, Jayadvaita Maharaj and Jayananda, both of them said they have no information about any stricture that says they can't. But as far as personal preference, a person may not want to do that for whatever reason. But so my conclusion would be, it's not wrong. It's allowed, but you may not do it. Does that make sense, Mahesh Pandit?
Yes, for sure.
And Malati, who's a GBC, will say that she offers a basic. You know this, Madan Gopal. She offers us dandavats.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, and she's kind of unhappy that the practice was restricted from ladies. If you talk to her, because it wasn't restricted in the beginning. So that came later for whatever reason. I don't know. You know, we could do a psychological or sociological study on why they put it in there. I know that in some etiquette manuals it says exactly like you said, that ladies can only do it halfway. But as far as from scripture, I don't know any evidence from scripture that says that.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
You bet. Hare Krishna. If a woman does that, they might be criticized, though. That's true. So I know it's almost 9 o'clock, and how far did we get? There's still 20. So I don't know if you want to continue, because it's 9 o'clock. I don't know what time you go to take rest. What do you say?
Yeah, we typically end at 9 o'clock. How much longer do you think? Yeah, this will definitely be another 15 minutes or 20 minutes, I'd imagine.
It'll be about. I could do another 5 minutes. We'll see how far we can get. We'll go quick. Yeah,
we can go till 9 or 5. Sure.
Okay, that's good. So yeah. Okay, Mahesh, you're on.
Yes, okay. One should not fail to worship
lack of endeavor.
One should not fail to worship the deity according to his means. One should not fail to observe the various festivals for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should not offer incense without offering some flowers. One should not fail to offer fresh fruit and grains to Krishna according to the season. One should not offer obeisances silently to the spiritual master. One should not fail to offer some praises in the presence of the spiritual master.
Interesting point about the first one is when Srila Prabhupada went to a devotee's house in London, where he had just installed the Radha Londonishwara. He told the devotee that this was Chiraraksha, who was an Indian gentleman who had a grocery store nearby. he had a deity at his house. He said, this deity you should treat as an expansion of the deity in the temple. And any donation, sir, any donation you get that belongs to the deity in the temple, he said. Similarly, when they did the Anukut ceremony for Srinathji, you remember, there were all these Brijbasis there, and they did amazing service for that Srinathji deity, even though each of them Brahmins had their own, Shalagram Shila or deity in their house. So there's still one main deity and other expansion deities. Okay, I'll read this one. One should not fail to strictly follow the rules and regulations in worshiping the deity. One should not enter the temple of the deity without making some sound, knock, bell. Of course, that should be suspended when there's class going on. One should not touch the deity in a dark room. One should not worship the Lord while sitting on the bare floor. One must have a sitting place or carpet. Useless flowers without any fragrance should not be offered. At least if you got those flowers, put a little bit of what do you say? Oil, fragrant oil on them. One should not offer a flower which was kept in an unclean pot. One should not offer foodstuff cooked by a non-Vaishnava. One should not offer foodstuff to the deity which has been seen by dogs or lower animals, because they're gonna want to eat it. They're gonna lust after. That's a kind of a subtle thing. So another thing is that's why most temples are going to restrict little kids from going in the kitchen, because they're going to also want to eat it. So you want to be careful about that, unless they're trained. People should be trained about that. Okay. One should not eat anything which is not first offered to Krishna. After food has been cooked, no one should be offered any foodstuff unless it is first offered to the deity. One should not deride the demigods before the deity. One should not show any respect to any scripture teaching about the supremacy of the Lord. That means don't put the books on the floor directly. One should not introduce any opposing scripture. Bible wouldn't be necessarily opposing. And look at these last two. One should not smoke marijuana or ganja. One should not take opium or similar intoxicants. Very interesting. I mean, they didn't say drink alcohol. They didn't say, and this apparently it's not just when you're in the temple. It's anytime. So anytime if you're outside, you're smoking marijuana, you're taking opium. That's an offense. That's very interesting. Didn't say smoke cigarettes. Okay, that's 64. So there's verses. This is given verses in the scriptures to counteract offenses that you may have committed. And you can read the English, Mahesh.
Whatever is inauspicious thing I have done out of ignorance or unknowingly, please forgive that, and accept me as your insignificant servant. Let my normal condition be service. Let my movement be holy pilgrimage. Let my thoughts be remembrance of you. Let my words be glorification of you. O Vishnu, let my activities with my whole mind, body and soul be engaged in you.
Yes. Aparada sahasrani kriyante haranisham maya daso ham itima matva kshamasva madhusudana. Thousands of offenses are performed by me day and night, but thinking of me as your servant, kindly forgive me and chant the holy names of the Lord, because there's regularly chant the holy names of the Lord. Please help me engage in your service. Practice avoiding the offenses. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hari Bol.
Boom.
Thank you so much.
Anyway, that was it.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. And maybe if you can do the stop screen share, then we can see a little better. Maybe see all the devotees on the top there.
Oh, Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
So thank you, Vishnu Gada Prabhu, for the very enlivening and enlightening topic. We all got something new, and there's so much available. So those devotees, if you missed some of it, you know where to find the YouTube video, the recording. That's Mother Yashomati giving her special darshan. Hari Bol.
Oh, Hare
From the
Krishna.
kitchen. From the kitchen. There you go. There she is. I'm just gonna.
That's the kitchen in Towaco?
Towaco. That's right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. Hari Bol. Hari
Hare
Bol.
Krishna. Hare Krishna. Oh, it looks pretty clean there. Nice.
They've been working. This is Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol,
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you all.
So thank you, Prabhu. And I just want to make a couple of quick announcements. So, of course, on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays on this channel, we have His Holiness Jai Advaita Swami Maharaj. On Thursday, we have His Grace Brahmatirtha Prabhu giving a special class. So please be sure to join all these sessions. And thank you once again, Vishnu Gada Prabhu. And if anybody would like to say quick Hare Krishna to Vishnu Gada Prabhu, we'll leave it open for another minute or so. And everyone would love to say Hare Krishna. Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna. Hare Bol. Dandavat Prabhu. Such a nice class.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Madhukant.
Hare Krishna.
There's also this scientific thing going on Saturday. You know this?
The scientific thing?
You don't know about there's something Vigyan conference in India, but they're broadcasting it in the United States too.
Oh, I'm not aware of that. Okay.
Oh, I'll send you the link. Send you the link.
Yeah, I can share it on our website. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I guess you didn't know. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Nice
Nice to see you all.
Hare Bol.
His
Hare
great
Bol.
Hare Bol.
Acha kalpatarubyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo.
Radhe Radhe.
Hare